Yo, hey guys, it's Pop and Jacques Slade here. Back with another unboxing, and today, as you can see, we got a bit of a quadruple unboxing. Well, it's a quintuple unboxing. Anyway, it's Kobe week, Nike is celebrating, and they sent me everything to unbox for you guys. So I want to give you a closer look at everything that dropped this week. Some already dropped, some drops today or tomorrow, and then some more drops the next day. Anyway, let's go through everything that we have and give you a closer look at some of the details behind it, because really it's the story of these sneakers that really matters the most. So without further ado, let's jump into this first. Let me take that down, because that feels weird for me to see that there. Okay, I'm gonna take all of it down. It feels weird. I see it in the background. Anyway, let's start with the first pair. And this pair actually already released, and it is the Big Stage pair. And this is one of the cooler of the Kobe week releases that are dropping this week. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of these aren't going to make it into the hands of everybody, because these are, I want to say they're limited, but they're not releasing in huge numbers. So there is that bit of a downside to it. But again, I want to give you guys the stories behind these, just because I think there's some really big stories. So this is the Big Stage colorway, and it really goes into some of the details around Kobe's career, some of the achievements that he's made. And this happens to be for the 2010 year. I believe it's 2010, like 27 points. That's what he averaged that season. 2,835, that's the number of minutes that he actually played in that season. There's also a date on here, right here, it's February 2/01/10, which is the day that he became the Los Angeles Lakers leading scorer, all-time leading scorer. And the cool thing about these is that you get basically two different sneakers depending on how you look at it. So if you're looking at them from the left side, you see this side where it has all the information in this sort of like lasered print, like that laser Air Jordan 4, you get it here. But then if you're looking at them from the right, you see basically a white shoe that has the same information there, but it's just switched off. And when I first saw these, I originally thought that it was going to be like the black laser and the black laser on the outside, and then the inside was white. But as you can see, like both shoes are like a mirror image of each other. So like they're mirror images of each other. Well, not mirror image. No, it's not a mirror image of each other. They're identical. I don't know. They're reversed mirror images of each other. So you get it on the left side is the black laser print, and on the right side is the white laser print, if that makes any sense at all. You can see they switched up the tongue. This one has black, this one has white. They both have the same gold accents, and then they have the Kobe there. This one has a black liner. This one has a white liner. So you get the difference between the right and the left shoe. But really one of the cooler ones of the pack, I know a couple of my buddies that this is the pair that they wanted the most out of all of the pack, just because it had a lot of Kobe's accolades from that 2010 season on here. For me, I would say this is probably number 4 on my list of all of the shoes. This was probably number 4. I'm not mad at it, but just not the one that was at the top of my list. I'll show you the one that was at the top of my list a little later. And something that I just noticed is they have this sort of iridescent collar here on the black pair. I don't know if that's on the white pair. So the white one is not iridescent, but the black one is. It has kind of like a reflection of different colors on there. Just noticed that. So again, Kobe Big Stage, Kobe 5. This one is probably my favorite of the pack, and that is because it is in the Lakers colorway. You see it, as most of you guys know. I am a Lakers fan, so obviously this one really works for me. Love that they have the purple and the gold, and they have it all in that like patent leather sort of feel there. Then they have the black accents. As you guys have seen the City Knights colorways of the jerseys, and this fits perfectly with those. Actually, it fits with the jersey that they released this week. Those did sell out super quickly, so you probably have to go to the aftermarket if you want to get yourself a pair of these. But in addition to just being the Kobe 5, these actually have a little bit of texture here as well. There are some textured lines in here, almost like broken concrete or cracks in the concrete on the mid panels and at the toe box, which I think looks really, really nice. Again, I love the black. The black just really makes that purple and gold really pop a lot. Now, these aren't just a Lakers colorway, although a lot of people thought they were just a Lakers colorway. These are actually inspired by the leather jackets that Kobe wore in the 2001 and 2002 season. If you go back and look at those, Kobe has on this huge black leather jacket that has all of these patches over it. I'm sure you guys have seen the photos of that before. So that's what these were inspired by. And actually the insoles, you can see the insoles kind of have a bit of that flavor on them as well with the Kobe Bryant in LA. Then it has all of the years that he won, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2009, and 2010. So you have all those there on the insole as well. And then the whole inside, the whole liner of these kind of have the feel of that jacket where they have palm trees, they have the black, and then they have the basketball, which is basically it's this pattern mixed up on the inside of the shoe. So you get it along the liner of the shoe, but then you have that pop there on the insole. And of course they have just the gold on the back of the tongue and then the purple tongue. Just this is my favorite of the pack. I just, if I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys, this is my favorite just because that Laker colorway, I just feel like it pops. Again, these already released, these already sold out, but the next two pairs I'm about to talk about have not released, at least they haven't released yet. Come from the good folks over at Undefeated. So when you get these, they do come in a pack. I believe this is gonna cost right around $350, maybe $390. I'm not sure on the exact pricing, but this is a very cool box. See, they have the Undefeated logo there, the Nike Air logo there, and then they have the cool Air logo here. And instead of it saying Air, it says A, then the Kobe logo, and then R, so it's Nike A, Kobe logo, Air, so there. And then you have the Undefeated there, and it's actually mixed with Kobe's logo right there as well, which I think is a nice touch. Now, this pack is called the What If pack. So for those that don't know what the What If stands for, so Kobe wasn't the #1 pick in the NBA draft in 1996, as everyone would assume he would be based on his career. He was actually pick number 13. And so this pack is called the What If pack because it thinks about what if Kobe would have went to one of those other teams. So the first pair is this pair. And this pair is basically decorated in all of the colors of the 12 teams that actually passed on Kobe. And then you have that here on the paper. So you have Philly, Toronto, Vancouver, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Boston, Clippers, Jersey, Dallas, Indiana, Oakland, and Cleveland. All 12 of those teams passed on Kobe Bryant, and that is what this shoe kind of symbolizes. Actually, I shouldn't say kind of, that is actually what this shoe symbolizes. And of the pack, this is, I would say, my second favorite, just because I really love the way this looks with all like the patches. It's almost like pieces of jersey or canvas have been patched on to the shoe, and they're like they're thick. They're not like flush with the shoe. They're thick, so it's almost like they've been stitched on. Kind of like if you know, have you seen like those patchwork shirts that seem like they're like different pieces of denim sewed together? That's the vibe that I get with these, but instead it's like this canvas material that has obvious sewing that shows the pieces being put together. There's stitching here, external stitching here, stitching there. So it's like they just stitched the whole shoe together. It's really a good looking design. I really appreciate the mixture of the colors. They have the accents of gold to kind of bring it all together. And then something really interesting about these is they're almost like a mix of the Kobe 5 and the Kobe 6. So if you worn the Kobe 6, you know it had like this textured material on the upper, and it looks like Undefeated brought that back. On the back of the tongue, they have the Undefeated there, just nice simple hit there, so it's not super obvious, but then you get the Undefeated logo there on the green and the red, which is really how you see the Undefeated logo a lot, so I like that they did that. And then Kobe logo on the yellow, again, kind of coordinating it with the Lakers, so they have that yellow there. And then on the insoles for these, they actually have the name of the 12 teams that passed up on Kobe, as if insult to injury wasn't enough. You have all 12 teams there that passed on Kobe along with the Undefeated logo. Again, my favorite of the pack. I just really love this look. The canvas materials and everything just put together just makes for a really dope design in my mind. And then for this insole, they just have the Undefeated logo. They just have the Undefeated logo there with the Kobe Bryant signature right there in the middle. Again, very, very cool. I love the way that Undefeated really thought about this collection and really thought about this shoe and didn't throw something together. It's too many times you see brands just throw colors on a shoe and call it a collaboration. But this one feels really thought out and really telling the story of Kobe in a way that really makes sense. And it even goes down to the material choices that they made, which is important. The materials are just as important as the colorway. And this feels like with this canvas pieces, it's almost like the tough tenacity, the tough durability, the tough way that Kobe played the game. This all kind of matches up with that, with this upper. So moving on. Next up, we have the what if, but this is the team that actually drafted Kobe, if that makes sense. So we had the 12 that passed on Kobe, but then on the 13th pick, the Charlotte Hornets actually drafted Kobe, and after they drafted him, they transferred him, or traded him, I should say, to the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's where we get this colorway. And you see they decked it out in white with the gold here. Did that same sort of stitching where they stitched on the Nike logo, so it has some texture to it. This feels like a little bit of plastic, almost some patent leather, have some durability there at the toe. And then they did the same sort of patchwork feel with this one, but obviously it's just one color, so it's all white. But then you have the pop of turquoise there on the Kobe logo, and then a little bit there at the heel, and then the Undefeated logo there at the heel, then the Undefeated logo on the tongue, and the same thing, the air there. And then these insoles have the same thing where they count down the teams that missed on Kobe in 1996, but then they have the Charlotte Hornets in turquoise. So shout out to the Charlotte Hornets. As a Laker fan, I appreciate you trading Kobe to the Los Angeles Lakers. He changed the dynamic of that agency forever, or I should say that franchise forever. And I'm forever grateful to the Charlotte Hornets for doing that. And finally, the pair that is probably the most sentimental to me when it comes to this pack. So everyone knows that Kobe had a love for the game of basketball, but Kobe also had a love for the game of women's basketball. And after he retired, you really saw that part of his personality come to life. And for the final drop of Kobe Week, they went with the Nike Kobe V Eyeball for women. And this represents women's basketball in a way that I think only Kobe could do it. So the colorway, as you see, obviously is olive green with the hint of yellow on the inside, and then they have that touch of infrared or pink, if that's what you want to call it, there on the heel. But this is the Eyeball colorway, and the Eyeball is the elite youth basketball league that Nike runs, and this is their women's version of the shoe. And outside of the colorway, I feel like if it didn't have this hit of pink right here, it almost feels like an Oregon colorway of the shoe. They have this gray, but kind of feels like an Oregon colorway. Anyway, the thing about this one is there is some texture to the mid panels and the toe box. And if you look really closely, you can see that it looks like snakeskin. Obviously, we know that Kobe was called the Black Mamba. So you have that snakeskin sort of thing there on the toe box and on the mid panels. And you would think Kobe, Black Mamba, snakeskin, perfect. That makes perfect sense. But actually, that's not what this is about at all. So this pair is actually inspired by Medusa. For those that don't know who Medusa is, she was this mythological creature that if you looked at her, she was so beautiful that you would turn to stone. Some said she was so ugly that you would turn to stone. Either way, you would freeze when you saw her. And this pair is inspired by Medusa with that same sort of thinking of being able to being able to freeze a defender at the first glance. So I think that's really dope. It's very, very much in the mind frame and in the thinking of something that Kobe Bryant would say. As you guys know, he had these muses and he found inspiration in all these different areas of his life. And for this pair, the Medusa pair, like that, it makes so much sense as something that you would think Kobe would say, or something that Kobe would think, that he would look at Medusa and think, oh, there she's able to freeze people with one glance. How can I incorporate that into my game? We all know how maniacal Kobe was when it came to the game of basketball. And so for this to kind of bring that world world, the mythological, that Greek mythology into his sneakers. As we know, Kobe was very well studied. For him to bring that into his performance footwear as a way to inspire the next generation of women playing basketball, I just think that's really dope. And of all the pairs, even though I love that Laker pair and I love the what if pair in the multiple colors, this pair is probably the most sentimental because it's well thought out and it really speaks to how Kobe felt about the game of basketball and how he looked at the sport and found inspiration in any and everything that happened in the world. So just a quick recap: we have the Medusa women's eyeball colorway, we have the 5-time champ colorway, we have the big stage colorway, we have the what if colorway for the first 12 teams, and then we have the what if colorway for the 13th team. These are part of the Undefeated pack. These all released individually. These two pairs already released. These released later this weekend. I believe these release tomorrow. Anyway, just want to give you guys a quick look at the Kobe Week pack. Again, big shout out to Nike for sending these out to me. Just want to do an unboxing and give you guys a quick review of these. I'm about to send all of these back to Nike, so I don't get to keep these pairs, but I appreciate Nike letting me borrow them so I could give you guys a quick first impression and look at them. With that being said, as always, I'm Jacques Slade. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, favorite, and subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.